Welcome to Possible, a podcast that highlights stories from small and medium sized business owners, professionals, and individuals as they share their experiences, growth, and the choices that transform their challenging path into opportunities, along with the lessons they have learned. I'm your host, Fatima Presswala, a small business owner and founder of Presence Recruiting, where we help growing businesses find the right people with the right value. Today, I am joined by Jason, a business development and project manager at Lemanski Construction. He lives in West Palm Beach, Florida, and with over 15 years of leadership and sales experience, Jason works closely with clients and teams to bring projects to life. Welcome, Jason, to Possible.
Yeah, thank you so
Uh,
much for the introduction. I appreciate it.
Jason, take us back to the beginning. How did you first get into construction and business development?
Sure. I actually have a background in the moving industry, and I have a passion for building businesses, and down in West Palm Beach, there's a lot of opportunity, and as far as the construction side of things, there's a lot of opportunity on the construction side as well. So I would just say that um, I really looked for an opportunity in something I felt like I could make a difference. There's a lot of large companies down here, but I felt like I found the right company to get settled in with to really start pushing. Because a lot of people in South Florida are from different areas. A lot of times when you meet people, they're from the Northeast, they're from New York or New Jersey or Philadelphia or whatnot. And so the owner of Lemanski Construction is actually from Boston. And so he's really trying to bring like that Northeast feel down to South Florida and grow the business. I just felt like it would be a better fit for me to find an opportunity in doing business development or sales with another company down here. And so I met Preston from Lemanski Construction, and we hit it off very early. And we both had the same vision of kind of what we wanted, just to deliver honesty, transparency, and excellent service in South Florida, and everything aligned that way. And we've been together, working together about 10 months, and it's going really well.
I know construction is a really booming industry. It doesn't matter Florida, Boston, or I live in Houston, Texas, and it's a big thing over here as well. What kind of construction you guys are into?
So mostly residential. We do a little bit of commercial, but I would say over 90% of it's residential. There's opportunities both ways. So we want to go where the opportunity is. So if there's an opportunity for commercial work, we would absolutely do that. We've just seen that there's a lot more opportunity in the residential side right now.
Yes. Lot of people are moving to Florida
All the time. Yep. All
Oh,
the time.
because of the weather, and it's a great place to be.
It is. I've got family and friends all over the nation, and it's funny because we had a cold front come in last week, and it was a little colder here than there, and they were finally able to kind of mess with me a little bit through text and through calls and say, "Hey, it's warmer in Washington or Kansas than it is in South Florida," which is very, very rare. And everybody down here, it's 40 or 50 degrees, and they've got their coats and their hats and beanies and stuff, and it's fun. It's fun for everybody. It lasts a couple days, and it's back into the 70s or whatnot, and sunny.
Yeah, I think it's even in Houston, like people are not used to having that cold weather. And we had like a shutdown for 2 days and schools were off and stuff. So I'm sure you had the same thing over there as well. And so construction is an industry where mistakes are really visible and costly. So how do you personally handle those setbacks on the projects?
So for us, I feel like it's all about transparency. So we want to make sure that we work really close with our teams on site and just being honest about everything. And if there's an issue, we need to make sure that we address it. We sit down, find out what it is, we come up with a solution, and then we execute that solution. And I feel like where some of the problems run in with other companies or at times is the timeline on things. When you see an issue and you say, all right, it's a shipping issue, or maybe one company can't come out until Thursday and it pushes another company out until Monday. And so you go back a little bit. The best thing we can do is be honest and either tell the client or tell the other companies that we're working with, it's going to be, a week if it's going to be a week, or 4 weeks, or whatever that is, instead of putting an unrealistic timeline on it and saying, absolutely, we'll be done by Friday. And then you bump into the next week and it causes more issues that way. So I think just being honest with everybody and, having the same goal that we have a solution, that we want to get that solution executed and do that.
Do you guys work with the builders or with an independent owners as well? Like if I have a land and I want to build the house on that land, can I come to your company can build the house for me, or do I have to go through the builder?
You can absolutely come to us. We actually just finished a new build in Wellington. For people in South Florida, they'll know the area in Polo Club. Built it literally from the ground up, and we finished it in like July, and it went really well. And it's something that we specialize in. So absolutely, if you were able to purchase a plot or an area down here, a piece of land, and you wanted us to build a house on it, we absolutely could do that. And it's something again that we specialize in.
So you help from the beginning, from designing and layout, and what kind of materials are going to use, and do you keep informed about all the things to the client?
Absolutely. Yeah. So everyone that we work with, all the subs, designers, architects, everyone, we have a very good, close knit team and we've worked well with for a long time. So yeah, literally from A to Z, it's something that we can handle and everything is transparent. So everything is visible at all times. It's something that Preston, the owner of Lemanski Construction, really wanted. He wants to make sure everyone knows that there's no hidden costs, there's no surprises, anything. And I was really impressed by that when I first started with him because I didn't know. I have a background in sales and building businesses, and a lot of times there's, gray areas or different things where you don't always know exactly how things kind of shake out. And Preston made it very clear from the beginning. He's like, I'm honest, and I want everybody to have access of everything at all times. And so we'll sit down and literally see the cost of what it is, prices on everything, how it shakes out, and make sure everybody's okay with it.
So with the price, do you stay in the budget thousand or does it go lower or higher?
So we try to stay as close as possible to that number, depending on shipping or different things. Sometimes there is a fluctuation in that, but again, we're very very honest and upfront about it. So we meet consistently with clients. Like the house that we're building in Wellington, anytime there was a question that would come up or maybe a difference in cost, we always wanted to make sure we reached out to them and talked to them and made sure they were okay with it. So if something was to go up 10% or whatever else, we would let them know that there's an opportunity for that, or if there was a different route that we could go with a different product or a different company or something. So again, just being honest. So many times when people are ready to do a renovation or a new home build, there's a lot of changes during that time, and the cost is going to fluctuate a little bit. And a lot of times people say, "Hey, we just want to do the kitchen and maybe into the laundry room." And then once you see it starting to come together, it tends to snowball into bedrooms and the whole main level or whatever that way, which we're happy to do and we're fine with. But obviously, there's an increase in cost in that as well. So we'll sit down, go through all the plans, and make sure everybody's all on the same page, so there's no surprises at the end.
So do you have your own designs or which you present to the client, or client can give you their designs that this is our expectation and this is how we want the build to,
Sure.
build our
A,
house?
a little bit of both. We have teams that we work with that have their opinion or their designs that they could choose from. Or if someone comes to us and says, "Hey, we're working with our own design team or our own architect. This is what we think." We're happy to work with everyone. We work really well with everybody. There's a lot of times that we've gone onto a project and it's a new company that we haven't met or haven't worked with, and it becomes a good relationship and a future relationship that we can continue. So, like I said, we're very open and honest and people like that. So.
Your role is very people centric. Like you work with clients, you work with crews as well, you work with partners. So
Yeah,
how do you try to maintain with all of them at the same time?
sure. I think what we found is to let people do what is their skilled trade. They're their expert in their field. So, Preston has a background in painting and he's an expert in that field. And when things happen on site, I think sometimes if you've got a company and they're, putting down tile or drywall or something, you want to let them do what they're great at. We want to make sure what we've done is found very good companies to work with, that they have the same values that we do. They have the same end goal. They have integrity. Do they work hard on site? Do they show up on time? Do they show up on the days they're supposed to be there? And the skilled side of it, the trade side of it, kind of comes hand in hand. We meet with them on site. We make sure it's something that they can do. We put together a plan and we all work together for it. I think that's their expertise and that's their trade. If they have a question, I'm all ears and I'm open to it. But a lot of times they'll have suggestions or different ideas, and we'll run that by the client or run that by the designer and make sure we're all on the same page. So I think, again, issues come in at times with other projects with other companies, maybe because people want to step in and try to help where they can. I understand that you want to help wherever you can, but I would say just let the people do what they're great at.
Yeah, sometimes you have those difficult clients who comes with a mindset that I know it all, so you just do what I'm asking you to do.
When I
And
met Preston, it's funny. He's like, I have the easiest job in the world. I just say yes. And it's funny because if you have a client that's a little particular about certain things, it's easy when they say, well, I want the cabinetry this way. I want the flooring this way. And he's like, okay, not a problem, and I think it helps, curb some of that, obviously. So he's able to absolutely whatever you want, we're able to do. This is the price. This is the timeline on it. And then, we come together.
can you share a small story about one of those difficult clients where you had to handle that client and how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm trying to think of a specific situation like that where, again, the house that we built recently, uh, there's people, like you said, people kind of want things the way they want things. And so, um, finding that common ground, I guess, is kind of the easiest thing. It's difficult to do from far away. So we like being close. We like being on site. We like being available. The clients are able to reach out to myself or Jackie in our office or Preston or whoever if they have an issue or a question or if they say, hey, I want this designed a certain way. We're able to kind of race out on site and make sure that we're all aligned on that project. So I would say just for a specific time that maybe something like that's happened was just things that have been maybe shipped that weren't, sometimes you buy things off of Amazon or off the internet or whatnot. And when it comes, you get out of the box, it looks a little different than what you thought. Maybe it's a little bigger, maybe it's a little smaller, it's a different color. And so times that maybe on site, we went to put something up and it didn't look perfect. We want things to be perfect. We want them to be 100% satisfied. So I think sometimes when things had been shipped on site, it was a little different than what everyone expected. And what made it so easy was just they were honest about what they wanted. We were honest about what we could deliver, and we came together at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the important point you're touching over here is just to be honest. Being honest is also the right thing to do because a lot of people try to hide behind fluff things, and at the end of the day, they're messing things up. So that's where the problem starts. So if you are
And we never
honest
want to shift
since the
blame.
beginning,
You know,
yeah,
what I noticed, being in the construction industry is that there might be 10 different companies on site at any given time, but at the end of the day, we're one big company. And so it doesn't help us at all to say, well, those guys pushed us behind, or those guys did this or that. Really what clients want is just a solution. So, if I go over and say, hey, we're doing a great job, but that's not how we work.
yeah, you don't
What,
want
what
to
it is,
push
this is what's going on.
anything on anybody else, right?
Correct.
Because you are the front face, you are the one the client is dealing with, so they are going to come to you. They don't know who the painter is, they don't know who did roofing or tiling and all those things. So you're the front face, so you have to stand up for what you say and you have to make things work.
And that's what we an expertise of ours is being that go between them and the customer, the client, because that's what we promised in the beginning. And so it doesn't help us if we say, hey, these guys are behind. We don't know what's going to happen or what they're going to do. It's better for us to say, there's a little bit of a delay, but this is what we think we should do. Maybe we'll have them work on a different side of the house, or maybe we'll have a different sub come in and do something else until we can get it figured out. But the worst thing we can do is just point fingers, and we would never do that.
It's good to come across such a good sorry, construction company who's honest since beginning. We built our house as well, and so they gave us the timeline, but then
Hmm.
then they went over 3 months, saying that because of the weather or because the this person didn't come, and then so that's very common thing in
Yes.
construction, and I think people are already used to. So when somebody is giving you the timeline that your house will be ready by December or by January, they already know in their head it's going to be maybe 3, 4 months later then.
And it is common. And I think, again, we manage those emotions well because people are not only excited to be able to be in their new space or new house, they're a little frustrated if it's 3 months or 4 months pushed by and due to weather or permits or whatever that is. And so we do a really good job of working with those emotions and kind of coming up again with solutions to try to keep that from happening.
Yeah, if you can manage the timeline, I think that's the best part, being honest. And luckily, you have got all the right fit with other contractors who are working with you. They are the right company you are working with, and those things all came together, and you have built a beautiful company. Um,
Thank you. I
I'm
appreciate
sure
that.
you're really
We
proud
take
to
a lot
work.
of pride in it.
So how do you, in today's AI technology and machine learning, and how do you incorporate all this?
So I would say that, we've accepted it. I think a lot of people are, a little hesitant to use it. They're so used to, and I was the same way. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't want to use it. It scares me a little bit. But once I got comfortable with it and I was active in using it, I noticed that it is a good tool to have for like to save some time or to give suggestions. We're not at a point where we're putting projects into it and having to try to figure things out for us because we're still, it's an expert that in a field that we are, but it does help with some of the suggestions that we have, or maybe the way that we word some things in an email or something that I feel like is fantastic. And then also, it's great for time saving. With me doing business development, a lot of my job is networking and meeting different clients, and so I can go into Chat GPT and type in 40 different addresses and have it spit out immediately which one's closest to the office, which one's, the best fit, and it's incredible. So it really helps with time saving for us for things like that.
Yeah, AI, it saves time for us. But in the construction industry, do you think that AI or new technology might replace the actual human job?
I don't think so, just because there's such a human element to this job, I feel like. And that's one of the reasons why I got into the construction industry, is because I feel like you always need someone, a human there to be hands on, if that makes sense. I think a lot of times a lot of people use AI for emails, which I think's great, but I always read and double check the email just to make sure there's not that like robotic, no emotion sense to it. Because it's hard to show emotion in email. I'm on the way, or even text. I'm on the way can be, hey, I'm on the way, or I'm on the way. It's you want to make sure you're being respectful in everything in everything you do. Sometimes in those emails, it just kind of takes out that emotion that humans give. And the same thing happens on site. So I don't think the AI could ever replace that side of it. You always want someone on site, visible, someone that can talk to everybody, get along with everyone. So I don't think it'll ever be able to take that away.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone starting their career in construction or business development, what would that be?
For me, it would be networking. I think there's a very large amount of opportunity to build your business through that. And I think there's a lot of free events. There's a lot of people that hold events that are, they want people to come. We hold our own event for networking, and it's been great because we kept it small and kind of intimate, to where, it's 15 to 20 people. There's a designer, there's an architect, there's a, someone does millwork. There's one of each. So you're not really competing with three or four different people from the same industry that you're in. But we've found that it's been great because people they've gained work off of it. They're like, hey, we're doing a project with this person, or we're, you know, a real estate agent came and she's going to help us sell our house, or whatever that is. So I think through networking, there's so much of an opportunity that people don't take, because there's always an event. I mean, there's almost every night there's an event somewhere that you can go to. And, do I think you need to go to an event with 150 people and try to meet everyone and remember everybody's name? No, I don't think that's possible. But do I think that you can go to an event, hand out 5 or 10 business cards, get to know 5 or 10 good people, email them the next day about your experience, and build that relationship with them? Absolutely. And I think that some people don't take advantage of that. And I think it's a huge opportunity for people.
You said you have your own networking program. How does that work?
So yeah, we started it a few months ago. We actually there's a restaurant right across the street from us they have delicious food, an amazing setting. It's a little like darker in there. The lighting's fantastic, and again the food is awesome. And they've been very gracious, or they've been very helpful for us, and they'll designate an area in there for us. And we'll send out, an invite to, again, like I said, 15 to 20 people. And we kind of have our little area tucked away in the back and have some appetizers and some food and good conversation. And yeah, like I said, it's gone very, very well. And some of the people that have come to ours have talked about doing their own at different times, and maybe us moving it to their showroom or their office and trying it that way too. I mean, we're open to everything just because I feel like once you get stuck or sedentary into what you've always done, you kind of whatever you've always done, you always get, if that makes sense. And if you want to branch out and get bigger and better, you have to try new things.
Okay. So do you invite same people each time, or do you invite like other people's, and is it by invitation only?
Yeah, so invitation only. Do usually have kind of a set core that we bring that we've worked with a long time, that we understand kind of their values and they understand our values. So yeah, we do kind of have our set few, and then we try to bring a few new people to each one. And it's like the third Thursday of each month. We try to find a good time in the month that's convenient for everybody, and a good location as well, because we've got some that are really 20 or 30 miles in almost every direction. So we're kind of in the center of all that, which is great.
Okay. And you said you are looking to branch out. So what are your future plans? Like, do you want to expand to different cities, or you want to expand within the Florida area?
Definitely expand as far as size. I think being in West Palm, it's very, very, there's a lot of work going on downtown West Palm and the surrounding, cities and that. So I think being in Palm Beach County, we're set where we need to be. When I first started with Preston, I was looking, real far north, real far south down to Miami and that. And we just don't need that large of an area. There's plenty of work in West Palm and some of the surrounding areas. So but definitely expanding, that's for sure, to a bigger team, bigger team. And we don't want to spread ourselves thin, because again, we have a very good group that we work with now, that we trust and that we execute on site. But I still think there's an opportunity to get larger, take on more projects and larger projects, and kind of go from there.
Okay. Jason, before you wrap up, one last question. For businesses or individuals who would like to connect with you or learn more about your work, what's the best way to reach you directly?
I would say either through LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile, or through just my email. My business email would be perfect. Yeah, so the LinkedIn profile is just under my name, Jason Terkelson, and it's Terkelson. And then my business email is jterkelson, so Jterkelson at lemanskicc.com.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jason, for sharing your journey and insight today. Conversation like this remind us that growth isn't always linear. It's built through experience, challenges, and showing up even when things don't go as planned. That's what possible is all about. If this episode resonate you with, if this episode resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need to hear this today. Your support help us reach more people. Until next time, thank you for being here. See you again with a new guest in the next episode.